What is up, guys? We are back with another video, and today we are checking out this keyboard right here. This is the HyperX Ducky 1.2 Mini. So let's go ahead and take a look. As far as what comes with the keyboard, you do get a keycap puller as well as a few extra alternative keycaps. I really like that spacebar. So if you didn't guess already, this is a collaboration between HyperX and Ducky. They actually did their first HyperX Ducky 1.2 Mini back in May, and that was only limited to 3,700 units. So it was like a limited time run. And they're bringing it back with a run of 6,500 units, and they're changing the colorway. So the original was like a red and a black version. This is an all black version, which we'll get to in just a little bit. This keyboard is based off Ducky's 1.2 Mini, which has been out for a while. And that is a 60% keyboard. So I always say that 60% is as low as you can go or as small as you can go without losing a ton of functionality. So this is smaller than a 10 keyless. The big things that I feel that you are gonna be missing is that you will be missing your arrow keys in a dedicated function row. You will get a lot of the buttons that you might be missing in a 60% keyboard back on this one because there are quite a lot of alternate functions. So the legends are actually printed on the front of the keycaps. As I mentioned, we have a new colorway and it is all black. So the entire chassis of the keyboard is black. We have black keycaps with a few gray ones. And even if you flip the chassis over, it is all black. It is glossy though, and that is a fingerprint magnet. The actual chassis of the keyboard itself is made of plastic, but it feels incredibly solid. Felt better than even some keyboards that have, say, like an aluminum chassis. It just feels solid, it feels like a brick, and that's how you want your keyboard to feel. Talking about the keycaps, we have PBT keycaps. And I think with any high-end keyboard, you need PBT keycaps. One, PBT keycaps are extremely comfortable compared to, say, like an ABS keycap. Secondly, they don't get any shine on them at all. I'm sure a lot of you have like normal gaming keyboards that have ABS keycaps. After you eat something and you use your keyboard, you have all that mess all over your keyboard or just like sweat or whatever. You don't get that with PBT keycaps. Under those keycaps, you have HyperX's own red linear mechanical key switches. These are meant to mimic a Cherry MX Red. So they actually have the same actuation force of 45 grams, but they have a shorter actuation point as well as a shorter travel distance. So the actuation point is 1.8 millimeters and the full travel distance is 3.8 millimeters. They're also rated for 80 million keystrokes, which is a lot more than the typical 50 million we see with other switches. On the bottom of the keyboard, you have pop-out feet, and there's actually 3 different levels. So the first level, or the default level, puts the keyboard at a slight angle, and then you can pop out the smaller feet for a little bit more of adjustment. And then finally, you can pop out the larger feet for even more of an angle adjustment. As far as connections on the keyboard, there's just a single USB Type-C, which is located on the top edge of the keyboard. When it comes to lighting, you do get full per key RGB backlighting. The bummer about the lighting is that you have to configure it on the keyboard itself. You can cycle through different settings or even set per key, but you have to do it all on the keyboard itself. I thought that because this is a collaboration with HyperX, this keyboard would work with their software, but it does not. So when it comes to RGB lighting as well as creating macros or reprogramming keys, you have to do it on the keyboard itself, which can be a little bit cumbersome. Being that there is no software, you'll actually find dip switches on the back of the keyboard. They're set to do different things, like one of them disables the Windows key, another one will change between N key rollover and 6 key rollover. It does feel pretty archaic at this point. I've been using this keyboard as my main keyboard for a few weeks now, and it's incredibly comfortable. I went from a 96% keyboard, which has basically everything in a full-size keyboard. So moving down to a 60%, I thought the learning curve would be pretty high, but it's actually not. And the reason for that is because with a 60% keyboard, you're not making the keycaps any smaller. You're just taking keys out. So my biggest thing was getting used to certain keys that I'm missing on this keyboard. The biggest for me was I do get that number pad on that 96% keyboard. So missing the number pad was a little bit weird, just using the numbers up here, but I got used to it. Also, I don't have any dedicated arrow keys. I actually use those quite a lot. So I have to use the alternate function to use those. But beyond that, as far as general usage, the keyboard is great. It's super comfortable. As I always say, PBT keycaps make all of the difference. So this is super comfortable to type on. But then when it comes to gaming, the red linear switches feel awesome. I played a ton of Apex Legends with this. It felt great. It felt very responsive, and I really liked just how small it is too. It takes up no space on my desk. So I think out of all the keyboards that I've reviewed over the past year, this is definitely in the top 3 as far as comfort level and just how it feels. Again, because this chassis is so solid too, there's no flex when I'm typing. Of course, no keyboard review would be complete without a sound test. So here is how those red linear switches sound. When it's all said and done, I'm a huge fan of this collaboration. Bringing both HyperX and Ducky together is a really good thing. And for these specialty products, I think it works for both companies. Now, what they've created is probably one of the most comfortable keyboards that I've ever used. On the Ducky side, we have the 1+2 mini chassis basically. And even though it's made out of plastic, it's extremely comfortable. It's very solid. There's no flex when you type. It is awesome. And then you have those PBT keycaps. And I've always said when I do keyboard reviews is that PBT keycaps make all of the difference. Even if you buy a keyboard with ABS keycaps, I would always suggest getting PBT keycap set because it's gonna make the typing experience so much better. Now on the HyperX side, we do have their HyperX red linear switches. These are much like a Cherry MX Red, but they have a shorter actuation distance as well as a shorter travel time. So technically they're a faster switch and they feel really good. I gamed on this for hours on end and they felt really good. They felt really responsive. So on both sides, you have both companies bringing some things to the table. And you know, just the 60% form factor is something I really like. You can see how much space I have here, you know, for my mouse and on my desk. I don't like big keyboards. I've never been a fan of the full size. I typically stay with 10 keyless, but I think 60% is as low as you can go without losing a whole lot of functionality. Now, the things that I miss the most when I moved from, I actually have a 96%, which is like my main keyboard. The things that I miss the most, I do miss that dedicated number pad that I do get on that 96%. I also miss the arrow keys a lot. I use them actually quite a lot, so you don't have that here. But with the alternate functions, you get a lot of that functionality back. So I think 60% is really good. It saves a lot of space on your desk, and it just looks so nice as well. Again, super comfortable keyboard. It really is. There's not a whole lot that I can say bad about this. One of the downsides was that I had to program my macros and I have to program my RGB lighting on the keyboard itself. There's no software on the Ducky side, and this keyboard is not compatible with HyperX's software either. And reviewing keyboards, we're sort of used to that. I'm always used to having software. So doing it on the keyboard itself, it's just a little cumbersome and it just takes a little bit more time. And then the USB cable that comes with this, it is rubber. I can't remember the last time I reviewed a keyboard that had a rubber USB cable. It's just weird. I know a lot of people are probably gonna buy like an aftermarket cable for this, like a coiled cable, but it would have been nice to just have a braided cable there. So again, at the end of the day, this is a keyboard that I would highly recommend to a lot of people. The difference between the HyperX version and the normal Ducky 1.2 Mini, again, you're getting those HyperX linear red switches that you can't get in any other product besides a HyperX product and this product. You're also getting the custom colorway. So again, we have the all black colorway. You are getting the couple different custom keycaps, especially that space bar. Love that one. I don't have it on here, but the custom space bar is really cool there. And it's only $10 more. So the 1.2 Mini you can find online for about 99 bucks. This is 109, and getting those extra things I think is definitely worth it. This is a limited edition. This is a limited edition run. So there's only gonna be 6,500 units available. Well, 6,499 because I have one here. This goes on sale tomorrow and it's available only through the HyperX store. So if you want one of these with the HyperX switches, you have to get it through them. Now, I will put that link in the description as well as the link to a normal Ducky 1.2 Mini, because if you can't get the HyperX version, you can definitely get the 1.2 Mini, which I would highly recommend getting because I absolutely love this keyboard. Now, if you have any questions about this keyboard, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up. We'll see you guys in the next video.